topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. We have got a slamming show for you for the next 50 minutes. It has actually become my favorite show of all of our 50 shows we do, and this is going on our 14th year. I got to tell you, this show has become so important, our topic, that we do 2 national shows. Normally, all of our shows are either targeted to the local city or state. This is a national show, and we do 2 a month. And I got to tell you, we've added a 3rd replay. Even though you can go back to iHeart and listen to the show at any time, we are going to replaying this show again. It is such an important topic. And our expert has been with us for over 10 years. It is the easiest show to do. And what makes it so great is we know when you have a tax problem, what a burden it is. You're always wondering if the IRS is going to be behind the bushes. But Barry Fowler, the president and founder of the company, we're going to talk today, and we're going to ease some of that for you. Hey, welcome, Barry.
Hey, glad to be here, Steve. Oh, it's always fun to do this. And yeah, when you offered and said, hey, can we do 2 shows a month? I was like, hey, let's do it. There's a lot of information to get out to help people, and anything we can do to take and relieve the stress of dealing with the IRS, whether you choose to do it yourself, whether you choose to come to Taxation Solutions and use us. Our whole job is to help you relieve that stress and not have to worry about it, or be able to sleep a little bit easier at night. Again, even if you're choosing to do it yourself, this is the place to be and learn more information about it. Now, hey, I got some great news.
I love it
to me. And, I said, okay, hey, great. We can do 2 shows a month nationally, and we'll have fun. We have decided, and you get to be the first to hear this, right here. We have put together a great platform. Whether you want to do it yourself or hire us, again, it's going to be called the IRS Playbook. And we're going to have it out there for everybody for free. That you can go, we're developing a special site for you to go to be able to get that and watch our video on the IRS Playbook. What do we need to do? So we're going to have that available here in the next couple of weeks. So our next show, we'll actually give the website for where that's going to be, where you can get to it and be able to get all the information that you need to start down the path of getting the IRS the heck out of your life.
Yes. And Barry, you got a show that you do on Mondays, I believe.
Every morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, we're right here on W4CY Radio, Talk4 TV, talking about taxes. Hey, but remember that playbook we're doing?
Yes.
I'm not even going to announce it on that show.
Wow.
Until we come back together here at Ask the Experts, and I can announce it here. because I want this audience, because we've been doing this a long time. I want this audience to be able to get the first crack at getting into this IRS playbook that we're putting together and we're going to have done here shortly before anybody else.
Barry, it's so important that people who are listening now, you cover the whole United States. So like you might have a relative or a friend that's having a problem with the IRS. We've gotten calls on here from Hawaii even. But
Hey,
you can help people all over the United States.
That's my favorite story, Steve-O. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't have any clients in Hawaii, and my wife and I took a trip to Hawaii, and we were just joking around because, we use offices various places and have offices in almost every state. We didn't have anything in Hawaii at the time. And while I was out in Hawaii, radio show from there, and we got 2 clients. Now, we've had clients in Alaska and we had clients in every state. We didn't have one in Hawaii. And now all of a sudden we had 2 from Hawaii. So, hey, it made a great reason to have a trip there. But
yes,
that I have clients in every single state. And, matter of fact, I've got people in other countries that are U.S. citizens and live over there and have tax problems, and help them resolve their tax problems. So it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're dealing with the IRS and you're dealing with tax problems, we can help you. We can help settle the tax debt. We can get you an installment agreement. We can get you in non-collectible status. Maybe we can get you into a partial pay installment agreement where we still reduce the debt to less than what you owe. And that's kind of the beauty of what we can do and how we can help you.
Barry, you will never say this yourself because you're too humble, but I can say it. So I've been doing this for a long time, and we look at Google reports from companies, all different types of companies. But in your business, I got to tell you, I have never seen so many negative reports on companies that do major advertising. And they're going to do this. They make claims that you just know are not true. What's so great about your company, first of all, you've been around for a long time. That alone tells you how well you've done for your clients. But you know what? You never hear of anybody going, you know what? They just took my money at Taxation Solutions. Customer service is so important to you.
It is. And, I'll admit I've got a couple of bad reviews. One of them was we called him too much to keep him up to date. He didn't want that many phone calls. The other one was we were moving too slow, but we were stuck with the IRS and the timing the IRS had, and there really wasn't anything we could do about it. And then no sooner as he posted that the IRS got back to us and approved an offer in compromise for an incredible settlement. And we just kind of laughed and went, hey, I'm sorry we were slow because the IRS wasn't responsive, but just to let you know, here's the settlement we got. And, he settled for about $3,300 on $130,000 in tax debt. So he was really happy. He went back and posted a really nice review for us after that, but he wasn't happy because it wasn't moving fast enough. But that's why we stay in touch with everybody. And, we go through and try to make it as easy for our clients as possible. It's about relieving the stress. It's about getting sleep at night. It's about knowing that somebody is actually going to be fighting for you in your corner. And that's what Taxation Solutions Tax Relief is all about. And, as I always say, we can't do anything for you unless you pick up the phone and call us. And it starts with that simple phone call at 877-996-6477. If you're watching this on Talk for TV or YouTube, you can see it scrolling at the bottom. But those on the radio, again, it's 877-996-6477. And it's taxationsolutions.net. We don't make outbound cold calls searching for you to see if you have tax debt. You got to call us and take that first step. You got to be the one that says, hey, I want to deal with this problem and I want to deal with it now. And I want you to step into my shoes and handle this for me so that we can put a solution in place that you qualify for and allows you that freedom to get back to your life and live in the way life you should, without all the stress, without looking over your shoulder, without that tax monkey on your back. And that's kind of what we do. And that's what we're here for all of our clients.
By the way, I just remembered I'm mad at you. Some team called the Texans beat my Cowboys last week and beat them bad. So I'm mad at you.
Hey, to try to stay politically correct, we played the Cowgirls. Those boys don't show up. And usually it's the playoffs. But this season, they just don't show up at all. So I think the Cowgirls or the cheerleaders are actually playing. I'm not really sure. But it wasn't pretty, was it? But it was great for the Texans.
Absolutely. Hey, Barry, you know what? I got to tell you that, people don't understand. I think it's almost dangerous to try to work with the IRS yourself. When there's a company out there like Taxation Solutions that can relieve you of all the burden. I mean, just the letters and the phone calls, they no longer have to mess with that anymore. That's all put on you.
Yeah, I got big shoulders. I can handle it. Yeah, don't worry about me. All right. I've learned how to handle this over the years. Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
You've learned.
My wife kind of looks at things a little bit differently, and she puts it in better perspective than anybody else could. When I decide I'm going to be my own electrician, she's worried I'm going to burn the house down.
Yes.
Or I'm going to kill myself. Or I'm going to be, shocked into oblivion or whatever it may be that she's worried about that I'm going to do. But what she's really worried about too is the second phone call. Well, the first phone call is 911 to get me, fixed up or whatever. The second phone call is the true electrician to come out and fix all the damage that I caused, plus whatever was wrong before that. And so my wife puts it in that kind of perspective. When you sit out there and you do it yourself, sometimes you are causing a bigger problem that takes a lot more work. You end up causing more work for us. You cause bigger problems for yourself. You don't understand all the time the way the question's asked or what the IRS is actually looking for. And what the IRS is looking for is money. And so they're going to find every way they can to get money from you, even if it's like squeezing blood from a turnip. They're going to try. And sometimes you give them the roadmap to find every single thing that you have and additional ways to get money from you that they don't necessarily have to have or they need, or you were simply wrong in the way you stated it. But because you stated it, it's like reading from the Bible. It's the gospel. It's not going to change. And the IRS is going to stand behind what you said. And now we've got to go through a lot more hurdles to stop the IRS, or a lot more hurdles to get them to believe the truth and show them different support to be able to get them down the right path for the settlement that you should have had, or you could have had, much easier if we were there doing it for you. Because we step in your shoes, we get to answer the questions. You don't have to deal with the IRS. You don't have to talk to the IRS agent. Matter of fact, I always laugh because we give everybody, my business card, or whoever, and other people on the teams here business card. That if the IRS agent was to call you and say, hey, this is so-and-so, ID number such and such with the IRS, and we need you to do this, you can actually say to them, Mr. Fowler with Taxation Solutions Tax Relief is handling it. Here's their number, 877-996-6477. Give him a call. Hang up the phone. Matter of fact, slam the dang phone down. Have some fun with it. Now you're done. And my God, that feels great relief. Now, if it's your cell phone, don't slam the cell phone down. Okay.
Yeah. No.
That's $1,000 bill right there. But I mean, if it's one of your desktop phones or something like that, if you still got a landline, you can slam that phone down and be happy about it. But a cell phone, don't throw that down and don't slam that down. Just hit the end button and be done. Don't cause yourself more expense. Had to say that today because the other day I think somebody called and said, I threw my phone down because no, don't do that, please.
Hey, Barry, since you're part of the family, you know that Facebook and YouTube, they promote the shows a couple of days out. And I got to tell you, first of all, you and I never get political on this show. I have no idea who you voted for. You have no idea who I voted for. We might have an idea, but I got to tell you, the questions that have come in, what people want to know is, now that we know who the president is going to be, do you see any changes in the tax laws?
Absolutely. And it's going to be beneficial to every American across the board. First and foremost, the tax code that we're under, I believe that, President Trump and this Congress is going to continue the current tax law the way it is, which benefited the middle class, benefited lower income people. And it did benefit lowering some of the rates down for even the top earners out there. But it did put limits in for state taxes. So those people that have huge estates or, houses and had paid property taxes or have huge state income tax, they're limited. So that affected the rich people by quite a bit. So if you're worried about taxing the rich, hey, there it was. But President Trump has talked about not taxing Social Security. He's talked about not taxing overtime and not taxing tips. And there's a lot of other things in his proposals that are going to save people money. Now, we hear all the time, and this is one thing that we've talked about, and, we don't want to see him increase tax rates on corporations, not because our corporation, is afraid of tax or whatever, but remember, corporations only get money from those people that shop or buy from them. And who's that? You, me, everybody else. If you go into a grocery store and buy groceries, you go into an electronics store and buy a computer, or buy furniture, whatever you're going in and buying, you're paying a tax that's embedded in the cost of everything you buy. And so when a company pays tax, they pass that tax down to you, the customer, who at the end of the day is the one paying the tax. Each company's got to have a return on investment. Each company's got to pay their shareholders. If it's a small business out there or mom and pop shop, they've got to have a certain rate of return for themselves to pay their own bills. And when you tax them more, they've got to increase prices, right, or decrease employees to be able to afford to put that money for food, groceries, whatever you name it that happens in their household on the table. And the tax gets passed to you and I anyway. So why do something like that that's going to cost us additional money? You don't see it, but the fuel tax is out there. It's almost 45 or 50 cents a gallon, depending on the states, and it could be more. But you don't see it. But it's there in the pump every time you pump a gallon of gas. Yeah. And it doesn't vary based on the price of gas. It's a flat rate that's being charged to you and I, supposedly to make better potholes in our roads. I'm sorry, to fill the potholes and improve the roads. Don't see it all the time, but hey, I spent in my last podcast, my last radio show, taxtalkforyou.com. I spent the last 20 minutes on my soapbox talking about taxes and what I would do to improve this government, what I would do to, help balance the budget that we should have, because you and I can't live beyond our means. Why should our government live?
Right.
Means. And had a lot of fun with it. Got a lot of comments about it going, hey, you should either run for office. Oh, heck no, I am not a politician or wanting to be a politician.
You're too smart for that.
But I'm good on my soapbox. But if you want to make me king, hey, maybe we can do it. As long as I don't have to answer to anybody else, hey, we can have fun with it, right?
You don't want to do that, Barry. You're too good of a guy.
Hey, as I tell people is, as long as if I can come in and be king, I can just dictate every rule that needs to be. We get back to the Constitution the way it was. And the last rule that would go in there, because I'm going to step down after I fix it, is if you change any of these rules, I'm back in king the next day.
Yes.
Hey, that way we never have any problems. Because if you change something and change a rule, I come back in, fix it, kick it back out, and we get somebody else in. Hey, not a problem. See, we have a lot of fun with these things. I could fix the IRS too.
Barry, this administration has made these new 88 or 80,000 new IRS agents. I mean, they talked about them. You can wear a gun now, and they have really made them so evil. Do you think that'll change at all with Trump being in office?
No. One thing you got to understand is that the federal government needs money. And the only way they can collect money is having an agency that collects the money for them or enforces the tax laws. And that's the way it's always going to be. They say, hey, flat tax would be great because we can get rid of the IRS. No. If you don't have somebody doing collections, you're going to be in trouble because people are not going to voluntarily remit the money if there's going to be no enforcement. Because, to be honest with you, if I didn't have to pay tax and we weren't afraid of the IRS, who would want to pay a tax in?
Right.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, if you got a W-2 job, you don't have a choice. The reason they have employees and the way the employee taxes is they set it up so that they can tax you as much as they want, get you to pay in as much as they say, and you never feel it. Try being self-employed. Now, if you're making $100,000 as a W-2 employee, your company pays half of Social Security and Medicare, 7.5%, $7,500 on your behalf, and you pay $7,500 on your behalf, pulled out of your check. You never see the money, so you don't feel it. And then the company pulls out federal withholdings based on withholding tables, based on the W-4 you filled out. You never see it. So it doesn't hurt when it gets sent into the IRS. Now, you're self-employed. You are now responsible to make estimated tax payments. You're making 15.3% payments in self-employment tax, $15,000. That's at $7,500 each. They're making that $15,000, and they're having to pay in what should be the withholding or estimated taxes based on their federal tax out there. Those people feel every bit of that because they've got to pay it in. So when the government put together this great plan and having W-2 employees, and now you prepay all the tax every single paycheck, they can tax you and you don't feel it. My daughter, the first time she went to work, went, "What the heck is this?" Just pulling money out of my check. I thought I was making $15 an hour or whatever it was. This didn't come out right, Dad. Well, this is the taxes. This is
Dad's in the business.
Medicare. This is federal withholding. This is stuff you got to pay. Well, that's not fair. Hey, guess what? When you get to vote, make your vote count. Figure out how to fix it. Run for office. Do something to make a difference. And I don't see things changing because they've got to have that continued collection. They've got to have somebody still enforcing the tax laws on you and I. And to be honest, IRS, a lot of times when you're self-employed doing Schedule C on your tax return, thinks you lie, cheat, and steal. No, I think most of these people are very honest. Most people want to avoid tax, and they do everything they can to avoid the tax. But a lot of people are very honest and don't even take all the deductions that they should be taking, for their business because they're afraid of the IRS. But don't let the IRS make you afraid to take legit tax deductions. Let them be afraid of taking things that are falsified, that are incorrect, that'll get you audited, or committing fraud. That's what you should be afraid of. And if your tax preparer isn't qualified, don't use him or her. Get out of there as fast as you can and make sure you hire an enrolled agent or a CPA that knows taxes. Make sure they're a professional at this, not just somebody that's just there to do taxes to get you a large refund, because it isn't always right. Sometimes it just causes you more problems down the road than it does helping you today.
You got
that was a soapbox, wasn't it?
Oh, no, I love it when you get on your soapbox. I got a text here from, this is Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. He said, I am so enjoying the show. I am embarrassed that I have not filed in the last 5 years. I feel myself dodging that IRS and going to jail. What can your company do for me?
Well, we can do a lot for you. The first thing is pick up the phone and give us a call. Can't do anything over the radio and TV with you, but call us at 877-996-6477. First thing that we're going to do is do a complete transcript analysis, see what the IRS has for you, see what they're looking for, see what years you haven't filed, what years we have to file. Because not every year necessarily has to be filed. We'll see what the IRS may have filed for you, because the IRS at a certain period of time will do what they call a substitute for return. And when they do a substitute for return, it's never in your favor. It's usually always in the IRS's favor. But that being said, if you have very little information, maybe the IRS has filed it where it's good enough that we don't want to mess with it. And we'll accept their numbers and move on for those years and move on to the years we've got to get filed today with the information that you do have out there. If you don't have all the information, there are some of the years we can actually use standard ratios and percentages for. That would be standard kind of deductions, kind of like truck drivers. We do a lot at truckertaxtools.com for truckers, bookkeeping and taxes. But if you're an owner operator or trucker out there in business and you hadn't filed for many years and you don't have the information, let's say back from 2018 or something like that, we can use standard percentages for fuel and different expenses that you go through as a truck driver. And we know what those percentages are. So we're able to go back in and do some of those things for you to, get the IRS to accept it and make sense of it. And that goes with other industries as well that are out there. So it really depends. Now, if you were W-2 this whole time, if we get this filed and we get it filed correctly, maybe there'd be no tax due. It just really depends on your situation. So we'll go through those transcripts. We'll discuss with you what we've got to go through and file and get them all filed. And then if there is tax due at the end of that, then we'll discuss with you what we need to do going forward from there. Maybe it'll be a low enough amount you can pay it off. Maybe it becomes an extreme amount of money and we need to do an offering compromise. And we'll discuss that with you as we go. And your situation may have been really strong and good a few years back, and now with inflation and everything else that has hit us over the last couple of years, maybe you're not making as much money and you're self-employed, and we got to take advantage of getting that offering compromise done, as quick as possible as well. So those are the procedures that we'll go through with you. But again, just pick up the phone and give us a call at 877-996-6477. If you're afraid to make that phone call and want us to call you, go to taxationsolutions.net. Again, taxationsolutions.net. Fill out our contact form, put the information in there. Matter of fact, put in there you heard and talked to us at Ask the Experts, or you send in the question, and we'll make sure we get you some great discounts for being part of our family here at Ask the Experts.
Barry, what determines with the IRS? This gentleman here hasn't paid in the last 5 years. What determines how far back the IRS goes?
Well, what the IRS has certain policies to look at, say 6-7 years going back to make sure you filed. Anything beyond that, they usually won't ask for. But as far as collection goes, they have 10 years from the date of filing your tax return to collect that tax debt. So, anything that was filed back in 2014 would be ending this year or have ended already and fallen off. If you filed and have taxes owed in 2000 from 2014 and it was a tax return filed in 2015, that'll go away next year. If it took you a number of years to file your tax return, it'll be 10 years from when that was filed and accepted. And then it becomes an accepted date, because you can actually send your tax return and it may take them 9 months to process, and then they're going to go from when they accepted it. But that general is statute of limitations runs 10 years from the date of filing or acceptance.
Barry, I know since I've known you, you never toot your own horn. But, I love your stories. I always hope that you're going to tell at least one story on each show. But my favorite is still when you were working with an IRS agent. You knew more than the IRS agent did, and you had to go over their head to their supervisor.
Steve,
that's still my favorite story.
I know more than a lot of the people out here in this industry going to fight the IRS for offers and compromises, and installment agreements or partial pay installment agreements. People that are in my industry, I have more experience than most of the people in this industry doing this, and I've trained many enrolled agents that have worked for me over the years. But yes, I realistically, most of the time, if I get on the phone with the IRS, I know more than what they do, and I'm quoting them Internal Revenue Code, or I'm quoting them the Internal Revenue Manual, how they've got to do their job so that we can get the best settlement out there. Sometimes I'll be honest, sometimes I exaggerate things with the IRS agent out there because I know they don't know it, and it gets me a little bit better deal. So why not? I just know how to make it sound good too. And some of them want to look it up. Hey, that's fine. Go look it up. I know you're not going to find it, so I'll just give you an IRM code, and you'll take 5 or 10 minutes and then come back and say, yeah, okay, we'll do that. But that being said, I've dealt with numerous agents, and sometimes you do have to go over their head because they're just got their head strategically placed and aren't going to listen to what is truly code. They didn't get all the training that they needed or should have had to be at the level that they're actually representing themselves as. And then if even that manager doesn't do what we need to do, we can go to the territorial manager and get them involved and get them to get the agent and the manager to see the light, and that's what we need to do. We did this here within the last 3 weeks. We've actually had a revenue officer I have dealt with probably for the last 5 years. And he's not one of the new 80,000, but he still didn't know exactly what he was doing. And we had to go to the area manager and then go to the territorial manager to get approval to get this offer and compromise sent in and get them to start looking at it, because this gentleman truly qualified for this offer and compromise. Not because he didn't have the money to say pay for it or didn't have the wherewithal to do things, but to actually be effective tax administration for this client to be fair. It wasn't really his debt. Unfortunately for this guy, it happened to be payroll taxes that came through to him because he was a manager in the business and had signing authority on the checking account. The couple of owners passed away. So he basically considered to be the next in line, even though he had no responsibility to sign off on doing this, but there was nobody around to tell the IRS that he was not responsible or had no responsibility. So they charged him with almost $1 million in payroll taxes that the company didn't pay, that the owners didn't pay, and he got stuck with it. We couldn't get the revenue officer to sign off on an offer in compromise because he said, there's money here. See, I told you the IRS is money hungry. They just wanted the money. It wasn't fair. It wasn't his tax debt. So, we filed not only, for the IRS for offering compromise doubt to liability, but we filed it for effective tax administration so that we can get this to go away because we wanted it to get off of him. And we finally got manager and territorial manager approval over the head of a revenue officer. And that's a benefit of somebody, working your case, your tax problem that has the knowledge to be able to do it. We've got great staff who are well trained in what we do, but when they run into something like that, they're going to fall back to, the expert, the person that's going to be able to handle this and know what needs to be done to get there. We'll challenge and fight the IRS tooth and nail for everything we've got. We only ask a couple things out of our clients, and that is complete honesty.
Yes.
And when we ask a question, be responsive. Those are the two things we ask. And why do we ask that? I'll start with the second one, be responsive, because the IRS is trying to sometimes move quick. We need to move quick. We need your response. We need it right away so we can answer those questions and keep your case moving and not be thrown out for something stupid because we can't provide this piece of paper or that piece of paper. We need to provide that. Complete honesty. We're not just dealing with a collection agency. We're not just dealing with some small little group that's trying to collect a little debt or some legal scholar who thinks they can collect medical debt or something like this. We're dealing with the world's largest, baddest, toughest collection agency in the world, the IRS. And if you don't come forward, complete honesty, hey, what do you own? What assets do you have? Where's the money? What have you done with the money that maybe you spent? Do you have any other assets? Are you getting inheritance? What happened to these vehicles? What vehicles do you still own or disposed of or whatever? We've got to get all that information from you. And we need your complete honesty, whether you gave the car to a kid. Hey, we got a case kicked out of a beautiful offering compromise. Because why? The guy didn't disclose over a couple $1 million piece of property that he owned free and clear. I would have never went offering compromise with him. Matter of fact, this guy, by signing the offering compromise, not disclosing that to us, actually committed fraud.
Right.
So we had to save him from himself and get the offering compromise pulled back before they turned it over to the fraud department and had him thrown up for fraud. So complete honesty. We could have protected that property. We could have protected him much better than what we had to do to get things done. His excuse was, well, I really don't own all of it, that I sold part of it to my son, but it's on a note. You didn't tell me any of that. We're looking for that complete honesty. Well, I have these cars, but I gave them to my kids, but I didn't think it was really relevant. Yes, all the cars are still in my own name. You own them. these are the things that happen. And that's why one of the biggest things we ask is, if you're going to become a client of ours, if we're going to work with you, is complete honesty and communication. Be responsive. And that's what it takes to get these things done. We're going to be responsive to you. Please be responsive to us and help us help you. What is that? Show me the money. It's, hey, show me the paperwork. Show me what I need. Be responsive, please. And that's all we ask.
Barry, I got to brag on you. I tell this story all the time. I had an old girlfriend that her sister was in trouble with
Hey. Don't call your girlfriend old.
Oh.
She may not like you now, but hey,
yeah,
come on.
Really. But her sister, we were having dinner, and her sister said, I called a couple of these people you hear about on TV, and one wanted to charge me $5,000, the other one wanted to charge me $3,500, and I don't know which one. I said, are you kidding me? I've got the greatest enrolled agent who's been with me forever. Give him a call. She called you, Barry, and you were so honest with her. You said, you don't need my service at all. And it just shows you the honesty that you have, that you provide people, along with all your knowledge.
Not only did we tell her she didn't need to use this, we told her who to call and what to do.
Yes.
Solution in place. And even my sales guys goes, shouldn't we have sold that? No, she didn't know that much. This is what she needed to do, and let's get it done. The shame was she wasn't listening to your radio show, because she would have known to pick up the phone and call us.
Exactly.
If she was listening. Now I know she listens to the show on a regular basis as well, because I think she's called in a few times. So, it's really nice. And,
Barry, tell everybody, we keep saying enrolled agent. Tell everybody what an enrolled agent is.
Well, an enrolled agent, we represent you. We are licensed by the United States Department of Treasury to represent the taxpayers to the highest levels of the IRS. We had to go through testing. We have to maintain continuing education every single year. We had to, when we first get our license, we go through a full FBI background check, which is, all that is above and beyond pretty much any profession that's out there. So when you got an enrolled agent, somebody that's going to be an expert at tax and tax law. When you hire somebody like a CPA or somebody that says they're a tax preparer just knows how to do mostly data entry that's out there. A CPA actually gets trained how to do accounting, how to do auditing for larger companies on, financials and things like that. They're not learning 100% about tax. Whereas an enrolled agent, this is what we grew up with the passion to do, is to work in the taxes, work on the tax code, understand the tax code. When we go for enjoyment, what do we read? We read the Internal Revenue Code. I don't know anybody else that can say that actually gets enjoyment out of reading their Internal Revenue Manual and the Internal Revenue Code. That's kind of an enrolled agent's passion, is finding ways to save people money on taxes. And whether you're a W-2 employee, whether you are a self-employed individual, whether you're running an S Corp or a partnership, having somebody like myself that's an enrolled agent, that knows taxes inside and out, is a great benefit to you and your business and to everything that you do in your life.
Barry, the show always goes by so fast. And I really, because I love opening the end of the show. I love opening it up to you. Tell people why they should come to Taxation Solutions if they're having any kind of tax problems.
Well, if you want help and you want good help and people that know exactly what they're doing and have a concern for you, call us. I mean, pick up the phone and dial that 877-996-6477 for that free consultation. If you want the runaround, if you want the pipe dream, and you want somebody just to blow smoke and tell you what you want to hear, call somebody else. I mean, it's as simple as that. I am not here to tell you, hey, your life's going to be perfect and everything's going to be great. What I'm here to do, and my staff is trained to do, is to tell you like it is. This is what you can do, and this is what we can do for you. It may not be what you want to hear. It may not be what's one of the large tax places are going to tell you and give you the pipe dream because they know that's what sells, but we're going to tell you, hey, this is the steps. This is what we've got to do. This is where we're seeing it go. But it only can help you if you're completely honest with us and answer the questions we're going to ask. I mean, take advantage of the free consultation. They're going to ask you your income. They're going to ask you your assets. They're going to ask you equity in your house or other assets you're out there. Ask you how your business is going, the profitability and so forth on it. We're going to go through all that stuff with you. And we need the complete honesty and the truth to be able to develop a plan for you. And that's the benefits that you're going to get calling us. Now, again, if you want the pipe dream, call the others. They'll tell you, hey, you can get off and compromise. You can settle for a lot less. We're going to tell you might qualify it, but here, let's go through these questions first and see where you're at. Let's get these things done first, see where you're at. Let's not put the cart in front of the horse. Let's let the horse pull us down the right path and make things work for you. But again, take advantage of the free consultation, even if you don't use us. And maybe you don't like the God's honest truth. Maybe you don't like what we have to say and you want to go use the others. That's fine. Keep our number because you'll come back to us. We know it. We see it all the time. But just pick up that phone for that free consult, 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. Tell them you heard it here on Ask the Experts. They're going to give you a great discount just for listening to this program and putting up with me for 50 minutes. Steve was great at this stuff. I'm just here. And then make sure, hey, next time we're back on
Tuesday at 9:00 Central Time.
Tuesday. Hope we have it done. We'll be able to hopefully announce where you can get the IRS playbook.
That's incredible, Barry.
I am hoping these guys will be done with it. I have it written. I have it set up. We got some more recording to do, and I'm hoping that we can get this all done by Tuesday. So if not, hey, then it's another few weeks out that we'll be back on the show that we get to announce the IRS playbook here on Ask the Experts.
We have about a minute left. One more thing I want to make sure. Barry always says you're in the no judgment zone. There's no judgment.
Absolutely. We pass no judgment. We just want to work on your tax problem and help you out of it and get you back working correctly and not sweating the IRS or just be able to sleep at night. Or I'll tell you what, maybe even just be having a happy wife.
Yeah.
Make your life happier if your wife knows that somebody else is taking care of your tax problem for you. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Absolutely, Barry. One more time, how do people reach you?
TaxationSolutions.net, and just pick up the phone, toll free consult, 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. Hey, Steve, thank you very much. I look forward to next week being right back on here with you.
Next Tuesday, 9:00 Central. And then your show is Monday, right?
Monday, 9 a.m. or 10 Eastern. So we'll be there. Join us at taxtalk4u.com and join us on Ask the Experts next week.
We love you, Barry. We'll see. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Tuesday.
Thank you.
That's Barry Fowler. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. I so endorse this company. When it comes to tax relief, he's the best. I am telling you. He's been with me almost 14 years now. And what he says is gospel. Anyway, that's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week. Thanks, Juan. Great work as always. We'll see you next. Well, I got to tell you, we'll be doing a replay next Friday, but we will be back. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.